Hi everybody, it's Tyler here at VEX Worlds. You're checking in with 1010G. It's 10-ton robotics coming in out of British Columbia. This team has had so much inspiration to the community overall so far from their different videos we had. You guys have great success in your YouTube content, so congratulations on that. And a lot of it's just been the incredible machine they built and the teams that have taken inspiration from it as well too. With 10-ton here, some changes you guys made for VEX Worlds, so we'll be talking a little bit more about that as well too. Changing in from earlier in the season from a rig one to an S-shaped bot, but we'll be talking about something cool with their odometry pods they've been doing that we highlight a little bit more of, and just some of the other optimizations that you really got to pay attention to. So let's learn more about this team here on Bits and Parts. Edward, let's start talking about this robot. From your different build techniques to some of the big changes you made for your structure, talk to me more about your preparation for VEX Worlds getting here.
Yeah, okay, so something that I want to talk about is specifically like our design process and how we've been designing our robots. So you see that we took a lot of inspiration from a common design this year, which is like an S-bot, but we took our own approach to it, and I'll talk a little bit about like how I approach designing it structurally. So I've done a little bit of research into like structural engineering and things like that, where I look at the forces, like the different type of forces there are, like torsion, tension, compression, etc. And I'll kind of analyze like throughout the robot where are actually there going to be forces applied. So for example, when we're descoring with our wing, there's going to be a force this way perpendicular to the wing, and so what kind of stress is that going to be putting onto our structure? Or for example, when we hit the mid goal, what kind of force is going to be going into our robot? And so where I kind of need to support the structure more and where I kind of need to optimize the design for it. And that way we're able to keep the design as light as possible while still being structurally robust and keep us consistent in matches.
Before we get to our next segment, we'd like to thank the following. For over 100 years, Kettering University has offered a better education because from day one, that education has been built on hands-on, co-op learning. Kettering's impressive alumni network includes founders, presidents, CEOs, and frontrunners who have a reputation for transforming industries with their resolute leadership. Apply today at kettering.edu/vex. The Robotics Education and Competition Foundation provides fantastic programs for students from elementary school all the way through college. These include VEX, aerial drone competition, online challenges, JROTC, girl-powered, scholarships, certifications, and so much more. To discover these exciting opportunities, visit recf.org and get connected. And then from that, the change that you made earlier, we mentioned that you went from a rig one to an S-bot type thing. When did you make that change as a team?
Yeah, so we started working on this robot quite late, probably 2-3 weeks before Worlds.
Oh, okay.
It's our senior year, so we've been doing some other things and kind of relaxing a little bit more. But so we decided to change to an S-bot because through our analysis, provincials, and looking at some more matches, we found that capacity is quite important, and that the ability to do the logo well is also quite important. And this game is quite obviously like very fast-paced, and they're constantly cycling blocks. So we were thinking about how can we possibly cycle as fast as possible. Because if you're only able to hold maybe 5 or 6 blocks consistently at a time, then that means every 5 or 6 blocks you use, you have to go grab blocks again. So having that larger capacity really helps us have faster cycle times and able to stay more competitive.
Alex, let's talk about some of the new optimizations on this bot here so far. Some cool things you've been implementing here on 10-ton. What do you want to highlight?
Yeah, so I want to talk a little bit about our tracking wheels, the specific design that I used for this robot. As you can see down here, there's not a lot of space for wheels. So taking inspiration from kind of a common design where teams use a 2-wide C channel and put it around this rotation sensor to make like a really thin wheel, I actually used a 3-wide instead. So what this allowed me to do was make the tracking wheels a lot shorter, and change the rotation point basically, so that the wheels fit into a much more compact area. As you can see, when they're stored, there's very, very little space in between the wheels. So I did this by using like a 3-wide C channel design, and then using like the mounting point essentially and the spacers with the mounting point to kind of force the rotation sensor to stay still, like what the 2-wide C channel would usually do. And so these tracking wheels have been like really effective for us to the point where like we like hardly need to lift them at all. In fact, originally we didn't even have a tracking wheel lift for the tracking wheels because they're just so robust and strong. You can see the rotation point, especially on this horizontal wheel, is so close to the end of the wheel that it really can take a beating. It's really strong. And speaking just a bit more about our tracking wheel lift, we have this basically like a passive design where when we raise the mid goal, it also lifts up our tracking wheels. The reason why we did this is because it takes away the need for an independent tracking wheel lift system. And also since you like barely need to raise the wheels during the match, it's basically only for when you're crossing. You only need to do it once, so you can save a lot on air and build complexity.
Looking at VEX Worlds here so far, you guys have had a chance to see a lot of different teams and competition. Has the competition really changed for you at all from your previous events coming here to VEX Worlds?
Yeah, so both in the game that we're playing this year and also like kind of our goals for each competition kind of change as we're going to Worlds, because Worlds, obviously, this is the last competition of the year. So it shifts more away from like going with an attitude to like learn as much as possible, as we want to learn, obviously, but we're also quite focused on like doing well at the competition. So yeah, this time, like our rankings matter to us more than just what we get out of it as far as learning goes, I think.
And it's your last event too, right?
Yeah, it's our last year.
So what does that mean to you? Like this coming in, this being your last event?
Well, I'd like to end it off on a high note. You know,
Yeah.
as we know, like we've been to Dome twice. We've been to the Dome last 2 years in a row. So hopefully, I'm hopeful that we can repeat that this year. And I mean, we'll see. I guess you guys will know by the time this comes out. But yeah, so hopefully we can make it. But I'd be happy just to do well in like regular elims as well, even if we don't make Dome.
Yeah, we look forward to it. Matthias, let's talk a bit more about, I mean, a couple different things. I think one of the things we were talking earlier is that your team is actually building 2 robots, and so you get time to work on that and that sort of thing. So just talking about a little bit more about that, maybe how other teams can maybe benefit from that in the future, and anything else you want to highlight too.
So about midway into the season, we came to a realization that mechanics, as in how precisely you're able to move the robot, is quite important for this game. So in order to maximize our efficiency with mechanics, we decided to maximize our driving time. And one of the ways that we did this was by building one robot and keeping the old robot at the same time. This allowed me to touch upon my mechanics and kind of keep the driving similar as we went into new competitions. We've done 3 real builds over the time, and we kept, at most, pretty much all 3 robots. And so, in essence, in order to maximize our efficient driving time, we just push as many hours as we can. For example, with the old robot, we overheated quite a lot, so the robot would overheat in about 2.5 minutes. And this led to quite a lot of driving time inefficiencies. As most teams know, cooling the robot takes around 15 minutes, and well, to be honest, that's about 1/7 of the time that we're spending. So in order to maximize how much driving time we had, we decided to make the change to make a more lightweight robot, for example, this robot. Hence, this robot overheats in approximately 5.5 minutes, which is easily double the driving time of the old one.
I think I want to wind up with Edward. You and I were talking earlier about, you know, not just the influence that you've had in the greater VEX community, but you're doing a lot of stuff at home as well too, helping out other teams and programs and getting that going. Can you just talk to me a little more about some of your initiatives?
Yeah, of course. So obviously, since it's our senior year and we've been a really competitive team, we kind of wanted to give back a little bit to the community and do as much as we can to help the community, because we've had a great time in it, so we wanted to give that back. So some of the things that we've been doing as a team is that we're all helping out mentoring the new students at 1010. We have a really large academy, over 50 teams, so there's a lot of new teams every year. It's a combination of 3 high schools, and so we help mentor new students and kind of help share our knowledge and the stuff that we've learned throughout the few years and pass that down. And we've also been working throughout our province, where we've been created a non-profit. We've done this together with 1010W, another team that graduated. They're currently in uni. But we basically go to underprivileged elementary schools throughout Vancouver and provide them with the VEX IQ and some experiences that they're not able to experience otherwise.
Love to hear that passion of passing on to the next generation, that sort of thing. And hopefully we'll be talking to that generation in just a couple of years here as well too. But 1010, thank you so much for taking time. I think hopefully going on a super high note here at VEX Worlds. Of course, we'll see by the time this comes out, but I can't wait to see how you guys do it. And thank you for everything you've done for the greater VEX community as well too. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell to stay up to date on future fun videos. The Robotics Education and Competition Foundation provides fantastic programs for students from elementary school all the way through college. These include VEX, aerial drone competition, online challenges, JROTC, girl-powered, scholarships, certifications, and so much more. To discover these exciting opportunities, visit recf.org and get connected. For over 100 years, Kettering University has offered a better education because from day one, that education has been built on hands-on, co-op learning. Kettering's impressive alumni network includes founders, presidents, CEOs, and frontrunners who have a reputation for transforming industries with their resolute leadership. Apply today at kettering.edu/vex.